Hey friends, it's Charles here, and another video from my workout bench, actually from the floor today. And today, I want to talk about a question that I often get, and that is, Charles, being disabled, and if you're in constant pain, why do you work out? You're not going to be Mr. Olympia. You're not going to be an athlete. You're just going to add to your pain, so why do you do it? Let me tell you a little bit about my history. I was born and raised, actually raised in this house right here that I own now. Inherited it, and by two hardworking parents. My mother literally worked herself into a disability, and my father, he was a military man. After retiring, went into manual labor and did it proudly his whole life. And I was raised that work is your worth. Now, I think that was a great way to be raised, but it can breed some unhealthy mindsets. And I got hurt on the job. I actually got hurt going in early, clocking in early, because my coworkers knew that I was a stickler for how I left the store and how the store looked when I was on shift. And so they knew that they could not dust, they could not stock, they could not clean the restrooms before I showed up, because I would show up early and do those things because I took pride in my work, and I felt like my work was my value and my name. And it was one of these times going in early, the cooler at the convenience store was not stocked properly. So I was trying to do about 8 hours worth of stocking in about 15 minutes. And I was carrying a few crates of soda. I took a step, heard what it sounded like a firecracker, and I hit the floor. And I ended up tearing most of the ligaments in my knee. And long story short, I went through that, and I had a misdiagnosis, a botched surgery, a surgery to try to repair that surgery, which didn't help, and over 2 years of physical and occupational therapy. And I was declared at maximum medical improvement. So I was crushed. Mentally, emotionally, what I had been taught was my worth was no longer available to me. And I did everything I could to get back into the workforce. Like I said, vocational rehab. I applied for jobs that I scoffed at before my injury. And nobody wanted a low skilled laborer that couldn't stand up for 5 minutes at a time. Not in this town. And so when I was forced out of the workforce, I felt my worth was just gone. And all of those misconceptions and things that I judged the disabled community about, out of my ignorance, I turned inward. And I quit living. And I got woefully out of shape, worse than, like, bigger than I am now. And I wouldn't get dressed every day. And I wouldn't leave the house unless I had a musical gig or my mom made me leave the house. And so, fortunately, music was something I was able to do a couple times a month. And my body could handle gigs occasionally. So that was a lifesaver. But when the pandemic hit, the music scene in my small town dried up. And by that time, I had lost my support system. My mother, she was about 3 years gone by the time the pandemic hit. And so there I was again, faced with these issues that I had ran successfully from, and this lack of self-worth. And during COVID, I wouldn't do too much of anything. I'd watch TV. I'd go out to the comic book store occasionally. But I didn't look after myself right. And spiraled. But things started to change. I'm a big wrestling fan, and I was watching this wrestling content creator named Simon Miller. And not only did he do wrestling news and content, but he was also a professional wrestler himself and a bodybuilder. And he always talked so positively about working out and about how no matter your ability, disability, the gym is for everybody. And after watching this guy like every day for the wrestling content, it went from, man, I wish I could really lift weights and get in better shape to, why am I not lifting weights and getting in better shape? And once I started doing it, I found a purpose, a reason to get me out of bed every day despite pain. And it started small. I hadn't lifted weights for over 20 years at this point. So I started with a couple of 20-pound dumbbells, just doing curls here and there, doing other exercises I could remember. And I slowly bought more equipment, dumbbells, bands. You've heard all this before in my previous videos, but it gives me purpose and a reason to, especially on those bad days, get out of bed because, well, I may not be able to make it to a gym every day. On my worst day, I can crawl from my bedroom to my floor right here and get my work in. And so it gives me a reason to get up out of bed and something to look forward to and something to take pride in. I look at old pictures and videos of myself, from my personal YouTube channel where I post a lot of my music videos. And I looked at my profile. And so you see this right here, this trap development? Didn't have that a couple years ago. Nothing. And so not only do I see physical development and changes, but mentally I feel stronger. And I have a place to put that work energy that I used to expend at work. Because lifting something repetitively, unfortunately, while sitting, is not something I've been able to monetize. But I could come here daily to my living room and burn off that excess energy and build strength and confidence. And it's had numerous health benefits, from reversing my diabetes, like I said, giving me some confidence in my profile. I'm not just fat, I got some muscle going on. It gives me a reason to get up out of bed. And security as well. When your mobility is taken away from you in an instant, you have that fear and you have that what if. And, I was afraid of getting stuck on my floor. I was afraid of falling over and not being able to get up. But now I've developed the ability, even as big as I am, to push myself up from almost any situation physically, which gives me confidence to go out and about and be in public and be a part of society because I'm not worried about getting stuck. And, and so that's why I hit these weights 6 days a week. And I encourage you, if you're disabled or deal with chronic pain, to find something that you can put your energy into, something that gets you out of bed. This ain't for everybody. We all have our own disabilities and abilities. But if you're a musician, play. If you're an artist, draw. Read a comic book. If you're a writer, write and create. But, we have to remind ourselves that we are an important part of society. And we have an individual light that we bring to the world that only we can bring. And if we don't build upon that and expound upon that, we're doing a disservice to ourselves and everybody in our lives. So, thank you for watching the video and for coming along with me on this journey, talking about my life with chronic pain and disability. And if you have any questions about how I manage to deal with chronic pain, disability, or whatever, leave them in the comments below. I'm not an expert. I'm just a normal cat, just getting by in this life. And so, yeah, see you guys next time.